Hello everybody and welcome to 7 Days to Die Alpha 18.1 Beginner's Guide, or the how-to on various things that we're going to be going through for Alpha 18. There's been some major changes, some really good things, some not so good, but makes the game better, I'd say. Today we're going to be talking about survival in the sense of food and water and kind of like how to sustain yourself, because that's actually quite a big change, which is surprising. It came as a surprise to a lot of us who have played 7 Days to Die for quite some time, and it just took a little bit of adjustment. So if you're new, it'll cover it so you kind of understand it. If you're returning, then you can kind of get a bit of a grasp on what has changed, and you won't make the same mistake I did when I decided to give myself food poisoning over and over again. And we'll go into that and why it's more important now than ever to actually start hunting for tinned food rather than your raw foods. So let's get straight into it. So the first thing I want to talk about is food itself. So there are obviously two types of food that you get. There's the tinned type, or there's the kind of the raw food, the stuff you cook and get off animals, and if you're really struggling, get off zombies as well, but that's definitely not a suggestion to make. So what have they changed? Well, the first thing they've changed is now tinned food has 0 food poisoning. And food poisoning does affect you quite considerably now in this game. It was a bit hit and miss in previous versions, but now it's definitely in there, and it's a right killer as well. Now your raw foods have higher food poisoning, because obviously your tinned food is sealed, so it's away from the radiation, and obviously they're kind of emanating that by putting any raw food with food poisoning. Obviously you can reduce that. Now that's not 10% food poisoning, that's 10% chance to get food poisoning. So I could eat that once and get food poisoning if I'm so unlucky. Now what it does is it completely removes your, let's get into our character select thing here. Where are we? Here we go. So you got your health, your stamina, your food and water. If you get food poisoning, your food will drop to 0. It will completely wipe out whatever you've got, and it will drop your stamina down, and obviously your health won't regenerate. Health regeneration has changed as well, but we'll go into that shortly. We'll talk about food first. So food poisoning definitely has a massive impact now. Now obviously, as I said, you can reduce it, but obviously if you've not got any of these tools here, the best thing you can do is charred meat. So if you cook one of them, which takes 5 of your raw meat, if you've managed to get raw meat. Now obviously you got things like your boiled eggs, but everything else is locked. You can't actually do anything else now, even if you've got a cooking grill or a cooking pot. Your grilled meat's there, but I have to use my perk to get it. Now if you've got points available, yeah, you can go ahead and buy that, but you can also get recipes as well. So when you go in like emptying the buildings and stuff like that, you can get recipes which will unlock these early, or you can spend your points on your perks to unlock them. So there's various ways on how to get your improved food. Now the charred food, 4% food poisoning. It also reduces my water down as well, so I'm going to have to offset this by drinking water. Water also causes problems as well, so if I grab my where is our water supply? Here we go here, bottled water. My prepared stuff. You have dysentery. Now I'll go over that in a moment, but you're offsetting one problem with another. You're still not fully offsetting it because it's only 4% food poisoning. So you can go ahead and you'll heal up. But as I said, food doesn't necessarily affect your healing as it did in the previous version, which we'll go through shortly as well. Now how can you offset the food poisoning problems? Well, as I said earlier, tinned food is your way forward. As you can see, all the tinned food here has 0 food poisoning, so not one of it gives you food poisoning. And obviously each one has various different stats, so some will give you more than others. Like a can of pears, for example, will give you half health, half water, and 0 food poisoning, and 10 max stamina. Something like a chicken rations gives you more health but no water. And for the sham, and as you can see, there's various ones there. Each one will do different things. There's no downside to have the chili anymore, which is a bit of a bonus. So yeah, so tinned food is the way forward, because when you eat that, you're going to give yourself food and water, or food. Obviously, your pairs are great if you're struggling for water, so keep an eye out for that. So, and as you can see, there's quite a lot of tinned food in there. It's all the same stuff as before. I don't think there's been any changes on extra tinned food, maybe more rations possibly. Now there's various ways you can get tinned food, and we'll go into more detail in a moment about that, but one of it is obviously through the airdrops that drop during the day if you set them. If you're a new player, I suggest setting it to a one airdrop a day. It's default to every 3 days, so change that to one a day if you are new, just to give yourself a bit of a fighting chance on having some food. Now we talked about the raw foods, and these are your various raw foods here, and as you can see, if I don't want to do that. If I click on each one of them, as you can see, they all give you a 4% chance on food poisoning. However, they also give you more stamina and health and more water. So, is there an advantage to having cooked food you've made yourself? Most certainly. But the problem you've got is you're running the risk and rolling that dice of getting food poisoning. Yes, 4% is quite low, but it only takes one time and your max stamina that you've got, your max food that you've got, will just be completely obliterated. Now, is there a way? I'm just going to see if I can get it in these 10 meat stews here, just to kind of give you an example of what it does. It looks like it's going to give me no food poisoning on any of these. So, looks like we're going to have to be greedy and start eating some more. Let's see if we can get it to give it us. I just want to show you the effects of what it does when you do have the food poisoning, and then we'll explain how we can avoid the food poisoning whilst obviously having raw foods, or cooked raw foods should I say. Well, looks like I'm lucky today because I've not had food poisoning in 20 meals. So you could go throughout for ages and not get food poisoning, but it's just that one time that will really impact you and your gameplay. There we go. So we just got food poisoning there, so about 24, 25 meals that we had there. And let's see what it's done. Starving. So it has reduced our food to 29. So it hasn't dropped it down to 0. Stamina's dropped to 29 as well. Water down to 81. But that's not a big issue. Oh no, yeah, it's down. Took our water down as well. So as you can see, it's done a massive impact. And if you're out in the wild and you've got no more food on you, and that was your last piece of meal, then you're going to struggle. So obviously you want to be sticking to the tinned food at the beginning if you can. Let's just bring ourselves back up so we're not dying, because you will die if you're starving. Obviously your stamina will drop massively and your health will start to drop, and you're also not healing as well. So let's get it back up there. Okay, let's see if we can get something that's got a bit more. That's got nothing in there. We'll take the rations because that'll help us. Okay, that'll do for now. The other advantage of having tinned food is you get the tins. And if you're struggling with bottled water at first, you can use an empty can to get yourself some water. So let's talk about how we can reduce the food poisoning, and then we'll go on to water. So there is a perk, and I don't remember which one it is. There we are, Fortitude, Iron Gut. So as you can see here, it not only reduces your food and water loss, you can increase your holding your breath, but it also reduces the chance of food poisoning and dysentery by 1%. And you got 2, 3, 4%, and then by 5%. So, and you also get increased in buffs as well, which is quite handy. So you can reduce it, and it's quite handy because if you've got the by 5% there, then all the cooked food shouldn't give you any food poisoning. So that is how you remove the food poisoning on your raw foods. Now let's discuss water and what they've done with water. Obviously dysentery is a thing. It always has been when you drink murky water, but now it's on bottled water as well because it's not 100% clean. So they've kind of emulated that again by giving it the 3% chance, which is obviously reduced by the perk that we've just looked at. And to be fair, I very rarely get it, and there are ways of getting rid of it as well. You got goldenrod tea and pure mineral water. Both of these cure dysentery. Well, they're pretty handy. That's actually, pure mineral water is great because it's got efficient digestion. It's really good. Because if I remember rightly, if you get food cost of regenerating stamina is -15, water cost. So it reduces how much it uses to regenerate your stamina, which is really useful if you're doing something like mining and stuff like that. So if you ever find pure mineral water, keep hold of it. Obviously the goldenrod tea cures dysentery. Oh, where are we? There we go. Bottled murky water, yucca juice and yucca smoothies. This is what we're going to be talking about now. Now obviously your bottled murky water has just got a higher chance of dysentery, but you can still drink it now. But obviously I recommend against it. Now, as I said earlier, if you don't have a cooking pot, you should be able to. There we go. Okay, so bottled murky water used to struggle because if you didn't have a cooking pot or a beaker, I think it was, possibly, you couldn't get bottled water. Now you can just get bottled water out of it. So you can cook it off and they give you a nice amount of bottled water. Yucca juice increases your stamina and gives you a great amount of water. So yucca juice is good, but you can't eat the yucca plant anymore. Yucca juice smoothies are even better. Now this is good because it gives you your cold resistance, which is lasting for 15 minutes. Your stamina regen, a lot of water, some health, and max stamina. If you can get yucca juice smoothies, then you definitely need to get them because you can pretty much survive on yucca juice smoothies. Obviously you need the recipe and you can get it off Master Chef as well. We go to our Master Chef. It's not the first one, it's not the second one, third, it's the fourth one. Army Cook. You're talking strength level 7, so it's 5 points, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 points. So you're talking 13 levels. That's if you don't spend in anything else. But it is worthwhile. If you can make your way towards getting yucca juice smoothies, then I suggest doing that because it's just so good. And you've got cold resistance as well as a boosty bonus. So that's the drink side of things, and again they're affected by your perks, and you can get the pure mineral water by going out and about and scouting, but we still haven't healed. Now you've seen me, I've eaten loads of food, I've drank loads of drink, but now you don't heal your maximum health by eating or drinking. Now you have to use, that's my water one, now you have to use bandages, and this is the types of bandages you get. Obviously they vary from max health of 5, max health of 25, with health 30, so it'll heal you as well, to your big one, which is max health 90 increase and health 180. Grab one of them and your health will go up. Your health will also go up if your max health is still there. But obviously if your max health is dropping by various things like you've been attacked constantly and stuff like that, then you have to use bandages to get it back up. If you use normal bandages, I think they do heal you slightly, even though they say they don't. But then all you need to do is eat and your health goes back up. Going back to our raw foods, there's also another little issue we have now. And this is that you don't have a hoe anymore. Absolutely no hoe. If we look at our tools, stone axe, stone shovels, you got claw hammers, iron pickaxe, iron fire axe, iron shovel, wrench, there's no hoe. So now they've changed it where you have to get a perk, which is living off the land. We can craft your seeds, and then you can make patches as well, little farm plots. Farm plot, there it is. You can make a farm plot anytime, but you need nitrate powder, clay soil, rotten flesh, and wood. You get your farm plot. We'll just plonk them here, like so, and then you can plant your seeds. So no longer can you get your hoe out and just cultivate any land you want and plant in it. You need to make these farm plots, and they are quite expensive. Rotten flesh isn't easy to come by, you'd be quite surprised. You'd think it would be, but it isn't. Obviously, the best way of getting it is your birds, your ravaged birds, and your dogs and stuff like that. You'll get rotten flesh off them, and obviously you sometimes get them in some of the toilets and stuff like that. So if you get them, it's worth keeping hold of, so you can make these little farm plots. And they'll just grow, and don't think I've not actually used these yet, but no, you don't need to water them, so that's good. So they'll just grow, and then you'll give you some nice food supply. But obviously you're only going to get 1 for 1 unless you increase your living off the land. When I go the right one, when you go to gardener, you can actually craft seeds, but then it's the farmer you want there, and the industrial farmer. Them two, they're really ideal if you want to be making growing food like such. So that's food, water, and first aid. So you, with the 3 there, you should maintain your health quite easily. Obviously there are various things you need to be careful of when you're doing it. Obviously, you know, the cacti and stuff like that, they injure you still. Getting hit by zombies, it's going to increase your stamina usage, it's going to drop your health down, and make it a little bit harder for yourself. And obviously in Alpha 18 they have changed the hitboxes, so be wary of that. The last thing I want to go through before we have a look at some of the places where we get stuff and what we're going to expect is obviously the infection. The infection has returned. It was a bit dodgy in some of the Alpha 17s. I never really got it in Alpha 17. I have heard it did sometimes hit you, but it very rarely did. In Alpha 18, if you get hit by melees, you will get the infection, and you need money to remove the infection. So that's just a little simple pointer there. Just make sure you get yourself a jar of honey, because it will increase over time, and after 7 days it will kill you. So with that all said, let's have a quick gander at what we can expect from raiding a house and whether it's worthwhile. So let's pop on over to a building that's just over this hill here and see what we get. I'll see you all there. Well, welcome back everybody, and as you can see we're in a bit of a town now. Now what I will say is they have increased the POIs massively. There's loads of different buildings, loads of big buildings as well. So the kind of pointer I'm about to say now reflects all of the maps that I've ever played. So let us just drop down here. I don't know why I came onto the roof, because I'm now going to struggle to get back onto it. There we go. There we go. So there's absolutely loads of POIs, and this is one of them. So let's get ourselves into here. I mean, it helps if I gave myself some way of breaking in. Now one of the new weapons that they've got is the M60, which I've popped out because it is awesome. And you can break an entry with it. So a lot of these buildings have loads of underground stuff that you can find loads of food and equipment in. So let's see what we're going to get around here. Usual stuff. Loads of these crates around. Remember, these crates, depending on what you set it to, respawn every 7 days. So you make sure you empty them, so you break them down, empty them, and then they will respawn. But as you can see, food is readily available. Apparently there's a dying pig out there. And you get plenty of murky water as well in the toilets. So you can see we've just gone in the first section of this house, and I've already got some food. As long as I play it safe, then I could quite easily survive. And there's our pure mineral water. Always check them coolers. More water. Bookcases, which will give you your books, which we'll discuss at a later stage. Well, we're just having a look. Beverage cooler, nothing in there, but as you can see, there's just plenty of stuff available in where you would expect it to be. So that's it for a recipe there, a recipe for food. Not that we need it in the moment. Always check behind the window, the book things, the pictures even. I can't. Right, so while they break into that, that'll be it for this episode. I only wanted to just quickly show you that food is readily available in most houses. You shouldn't struggle too much getting the tinned food, which will keep you going. Let's say I strongly suggest using tinned food at first, just until you can obviously reduce that chance of getting food poisoning, or if you've got a more supply of normal food, so that you know if you do lose your food, you can pop it back up again. Sounds like we've got a horde underneath us. There we go. Thank you very much everybody for checking out this episode. Next episode we'll discuss more survival techniques, various things that have changed in Alpha 18 that are quite important for us to learn, and we'll have a look at some more of these POIs during the series as well. We'll also be checking out the vehicles. There's a gyrocopter which was in Alpha 17 I believe, but there are certain things that are different, mainly how you get them, and obviously the perks as well. Well, thank you very much for checking out this episode. Hopefully you've learned something new. If you've got any questions, comments, or even any suggestions or critiques, make sure you leave them in the comment section below. I do check out every one of you, and if there's anything that needs altering, changing, or adding, I will do so in one of the later episodes. But until next time everybody, take care for now, and I'll see you all on episode 2.